sharing the same.
This, okay, so that's what everybody's seeing now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So just say,
I'm glad I got it.
you got it.
All right, now go back over here, reset. And all right, so who am I? I don't know. Anyway, this is just a short little talk about a gem I extracted from a client project, a client application to help you generate easy and pretty forms for non-designers. So just a little bit about me. I'm a software developer since the 1980s. Again, I'm old. So I've done everything. I've worked on everything from mainframes to mobile, but mostly web apps since 1995. That was like really early in those years. Experience with 20 to 30 different programming languages, depending on how you define those. Lots of experience with Unix and Linux. In 2006, I founded my current consultancy business, and I also joined Derailed, which if those of you who don't know, that was a Ruby and Rails focused meetup in Denver that lasted for several years. Fernand Galeana founded it. So, and it was a great group. This is a great group. I'm glad I found it because I missed that connection. These days I work mostly with Ruby, Python, shell scripts, and
I think we're supposed to hiss when Python's mentioned.
oh, you are. As a matter of fact, I actually like it, but yeah, it's a hissy thing. And shell scripts and FME, which is a commercial geospatial integration platform with a graphical data pipeline, sort of a language. Let's see, I do a lot of work with a lot of different kinds of data, but mostly databases, geographic information systems, computer-aided design, LiDAR, and so forth. We serve a lot of different industries. I'm not going to list those. Clubdining.com is a client dining reservations application for private clubs. We started development on it right at the beginning in 2006, maintaining it ever since. Although it's gotten a little bit behind on the upgrades, and so that's what we're doing now. It's a decent sized app, 54 models, 42 controllers, 353 HTML templates, 102 JavaScript templates, and 157 forms of varying complexity. There's a lot of repetition in there. It's ancient, kind of not very dry. So it's one of the motivations for what I did here, and some refactoring. We're finally upgrading again to Rails 7 using the Bulma CSS framework to make clean, modern styling easier. We're making extensive use of turbo streams in Stimulus. Gem itself provides many reusable helpers and customizable templates. They can help you dry up form building with support for standard HTML5 fields with automatic labels whose content can, of course, be overridden. Radio groups are created as a single abstract fields. The gem also supports custom fields with ERB blocks. You can also dry up related functions, including flash and validation message boxes, form page footers, new and edit form pages, plus headers and pagination for index pages using the Pagey gem. I've released it as an open source with the BSD 3-clause license. Here's a 10,000-foot comparison between a plain form implementation on the left and a much prettier gem-supported form implementation of the same sample form on the right. The Bulma form is complete here, but the plain form continues for more than double the length of the BulmaFormRails implementation. If the left-hand template were to build a Bulma form with all the styling that the gem provides without its helpers, it would be several times longer than the equivalent using the helpers from the gem. Of course, without Bulma, the form on the left is what you get. On the right is the default styling the gem provides using Bulma. The templates can be customized after you've installed them using a generator included with the gem. You can, of course, also customize the CSS styles themselves with the usual mechanisms. Here's what a BulmaFormRails template looks like in greater detail for a hypothetical user model. Here's a Bulma validation helper, which includes a box if there are any flash messages, as well as another box if there are any form validation errors. I also created a field set using the box Bulma class. Has nothing to do with the gem, it's just Bulma. There's a simple text field for a username, including an is danger Bulma class to highlight the field in red to indicate it's a required field. There are a couple of custom fields implementing a password and confirmation. And checkbox. This is a radio group with 2 options. You can put as many as you want, but again, it's just going to be one helper column. The template continues with another field set representing the personal details of the user. Here are several more text fields, with one format as a phone number, another as an email address. Here's an example of a field rendering an editable tabular subform containing addable and removable rows. Say that really fast. Each containing fields representing family members. The subform here happens to represent actual children, but child objects can be a collection of any dependent objects. The text area, nothing too fancy there. US state select field. Finally, here's a form page footer that automatically generates a submit, and a never mind button. This too can be customized to include additional buttons as needed. I'll probably end up adding a map field helper to the gem to support geospatial applications, which are my bread and butter these days. This app didn't need it, so I didn't make it. I'm using leaflet or something. Here's a link to the complete documentation. It went fast. Okay, but I'll show you the local RDoc file since the RubyDoc info site is sometimes agonizingly slow to render pages. And I'll give you a very brief demo as well. Now, if I can figure out, let's see, it's Control-Shift-F, and it didn't work. Okay, well, we can go there anyway. That's going to be the next thing. Okay, it did work. Okay, so now I'm craning my head looking at this. The README, of course, has a brief summary of features and screenshots, prerequisites, installation instructions, and usage examples. So, I mean, hopefully that's enough that anybody needs to get started. If not, I'm always available. Let's see, this is the gem course itself. And I'm running through this because I don't have a whole lot of time. Again, this is the local RubyDoc. The several modules. There's the field helpers, of course, the basic HTML5 fields. You can see some of what's out there.
We can't.
Could you zoom a little
Yeah,
bit?
can you
Oh,
zoom
hold on a second.
Command plus.
Let's see. Well, there's no command, there's a control.
Fair.
Is that better? Bigger?
Bigger. Maybe one more.
No more? All right. So yeah, time select, select radio group. Nothing, date, time, custom field, of course, it's the, okay. Thank you for system. Well, that's mine, that's tiny too. Hold on a second, we're gonna fix that. Woo, how's that?
There you go.
Way better.
All right, so you can see there's several different modules, field helpers, form page helpers, header and footer helpers, message box helpers, and the sum flip form helpers is really only one that you need, and it's again fully documented there. And I think the easiest way to describe what that really is to give you an example or two. So what I'm going to do is, let me go find this. Here it is. Sample. This is a sample index page. Most of this is, custom generated, but the header here, the meal periods, the new button, and the pagination. There's only one page on this particular one, but trying to see an example. If I said new, it's going to generate. Here's a standard form. Since it's new, it's create location, not update location, and there's never mind in both places. Few basic fields on this particular form. You'll notice there's a little subform here called table types. It just looks like another field. You can add and delete rows as you see fit.
Is that turbo?
It is turbo, as a matter of fact, and stimulus, as a matter of fact. So, all right. And then I don't have a lot of time to go through a whole bunch of it, but I'll just show you an example. But I don't even know if there's anything there.
I'm curious, what is a dining club?
Yeah.
I want to join one of these.
It's a country club.
Ah.
Yes, that's what it is. So that's, if you want one of those, that's how you do it. So, yeah, these are all fake. I should have been using this one. So I guess we'll have to help me blur it at some point.
No, I'll cut it out. I think I can cut
Yeah,
and skip.
and skip that whole section.
Yeah.
So this, again, this is a sample form and it's got completely fake stuff in here. So I should be just using that. Let's see. Again, it's much more complex form. You'll notice there's there's actually a child form within a child form or a subform within a subform here. And this one doesn't have any configuration because it's not like the real thing, but you would actually have one in here. The thing will do total columns as well. So you can specify what columns you want totals for, whether they have fields or they're just constants or whatever. So I just had so many of those, it just made sense to make it into another field. So, and really, I don't really have a whole lot more to show. It's all pretty basic stuff. And I'm probably already over now since
You're okay.
fumbling around. So if I go back to the presentation right there. And I'll just leave that. I won't full screen it again. Here's how you can contact me through my company website, and I'll open up the floor for any questions, comments, or suggestions.
You're working on Rails app for 16 years.
Yes.
What do how do you, are there any decisions you are really happy you made 16 years ago? That
Or unhappy.
Unhappy, more, yes, more unhappy than anything. You know, Rails has changed so much since then. I've had to replace a bunch of RJS templates, if that helps. Yeah, I mean, I guess I tried to dry it up early on, but it turns out that your initial choices aren't always the best. So again, all the refactoring. But it's been really stable. I mean, it's been a really easy application to maintain. It's just that there's been too much of a delay in getting the funding for the upgrades. And so now I turned it into a much bigger job because, you know, one of my colleagues said, basically you're having to rewrite it to get it up to the latest. Well, kind of. I mean, the business logic is the same. A lot of it's the same, but I've had to rip out and replace and refactor a lot of it. So,
what was the final straw on security?
huh?
What was the final straw?
Security is one of them. Yeah, absolutely. But it just, you know, there was also Amazon has been upgrading its infrastructure, and they have it became hard to keep the old application running because they were pulling the rug out from under us as far as what kind of environments it would support.
In terms of Ruby version?
Yes.
Use Docker.
Huh? Well, you know what? That's funny you should mention that. The oldest version, the really old version before I made the latest changes, wouldn't even run on Docker because there was nowhere to start with it. I had to run it in a QEMU virtual machine. Yep.
Oh, like QEMU?
Yeah, QEMU. I pronounce it that way. I don't know how you pronounce it, to be honest.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So
what was it about Amazon? Because I feel like this is a very cautionary tale because I feel like we probably all worked on applications that are sitting right now.
yes, and it's scary, isn't it?
That are lame, we got some lame Rails apps.
Yes.
If you pull Docker in earlier, it helps with a lot of this version.
Well, everything is going to Docker now.
Yeah, it really helps. If you wait
really is nice.
earlier, it's easy, and then if your developers are used to it, it's also easy, and
Yeah.
it just kind of moves across.
Well, but eventually Amazon will deprecate that version of Docker.
I mean, Docker's gonna get deprecated too.
Yeah, but I feel like it's
The
an
thing is-
easier step than just rewriting.
The thing is, I'm pretty sure Docker didn't exist in 2006.
It did not.
Maybe not in 2012.
But I think it's easier than fighting the dependency issues, with not being able to support.
Wait, did you say you're hiring, Kev?
Not right now. What you want?
You sound like you're volunteering.
Yeah. Let me come
It's
talk
just
right
like-
No.
It gets stressful to update the things when Amazon
Yeah.
doesn't support it.
Well, right, it does. Now, now that you mentioned it too, my sample app that I was running. That is, of course, running in Docker.
Okay.
And I did that locally here in case there was weird connectivity issues, something like that. I like to have everything, as a backup. Wouldn't do any good for anybody who's on the internet, but for everybody else, you can still see it. So yeah, it's just running in. It's all containerized. There's the app in the database.
Is your the app that you started in 2006, does it have like a comprehensive test suite?
It was not comprehensive, so I'm having to basically, and then there was no option but to add to it as a refactor. So
Sure.
yep,
I
that's
mean,
the
I'm not
reality.
blaming you. I'm just
It's
curious.
ancient. I mean, I tell you, it's ancient. Not as ancient as I am, but it's pretty ancient.
I mean, to be honest with you, like saying, here's how I updated an app from 2006 sounds like a Rails conf talk.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
That's like.
Yeah.
Like, here's how I didn't maintain an app for 10 years. And I'm still
Yeah.
upgrading.
Exactly.
You sound like
Yep,
Wizard
yep,
hat and like a
yep,
key.
yep.
And then like. Shake the cane of people.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
With your Dockers.
That's that's really impressive. That's like a huge feat.
Yep.
My app outlasted AWS's E1 instance.
That's right.
I do
Classic went away.
I do have a question on Bulma, the actual gem. Why'd you pick Bulma? As opposed to like Tailwind or any of the other like there are many CSS.
There are many of them. Latest version of Rails seems to like to pick. It offers explicit support for Tailwind, explicit support for Bulma. I don't remember if there's a third one or not, but there weren't many to choose from that kind of out of the box support. And so I picked the one that seemed the most straightforward to me.
Sure.
I mean, I think Bulma is just. I mean, I looked at Tailwind's CSS. I'm like, okay, these names are weird, and they're not really self-explanatory.
Sure. Who uses Bulma?
Huh?
Like, who uses the Bulma CSS? We don't like.
I don't know. You have to go to their website. They do tell you a bunch of people use it, but I don't know. It's fairly popular. But I couldn't list them all. We do. Modern GeoSystems and Club Dining does.
There's two big names.
Yeah, big names.
Any other questions?
Is this your first gem? Just curious.
This is the first. Well, we've taken existing gems and modified them, cleaned them up. This is the first one I've actually pulled together from scratch. And of course it was complicated because there are view templates and all this kind of stuff. I didn't want to put an engine in there. And I think I talked about this last meeting, actually. I said, how am I going to do this? I can't make these things work. And I figured it out, but it was a pain in the ass. And so I not only did I have to create a gem, I had to create a more complicated gem than most of them. So it was a real interesting learning process. Most of the open source I've been working on this year has been FME stuff. Nothing to do, so there's no gems involved.
How did you ship views without a mention?
I wound up having to, when you install it, you generate the views.
I like device.
Yeah, kind of like device. And that was, I think it was yours, was it your suggestion last time? Somebody was one of you that suggested. Look at device and see how I did it. Well, I mean, I don't know how closely I looked at it, but I said, I can just make a generator and then put these in the app, and that's how I did it.
So you wrote like custom generators for your Rails commands, and then it just starts at Bulma-ish and then add on to it?
Not sure what you were asking.
Like,
I added the gems. I added a custom generators of 2 of them to the gem itself. So when you install it, they're available. And you can just
I gotcha.
you can invoke them, with a little namespace prefix or something like that. BulmaFormRails :
Form.
yeah, generate form or something like that. I don't remember what I call them, but they're all there. I don't know if there's anything else out there like this. I'm assuming that people are trying to dry up forms all the time. Originally, we had something called Ajax Scaffold that sort of did some of that, but it was almost too dry in the sense that it was inflexible.
Mhm.
And so this was kind of a nice, happy medium ground where I don't feel like my hands are tied, and yet it's just a lot drier.